Hello all, welcome to this video in which we will look at how to do Wi-Fi data visualization using Kibana. So let's get started. So I'm going to go into our WiMonitor appliance and I'm going to open up the Kibana instance. Now we are going to analyze data we've collected previously. Now of course, as soon as you open Kibana, there is a time context, and if you notice, it says it's actually showing you data from the last 15 minutes, but this was collected a day back. So I'm going to go back and say this entire week. You can even fine-tune exactly the period for which you would like to go back and do data analysis. In my case, I only have one data point inside that which I collected yesterday. So I just went ahead and used this week just for flexibility. Okay, so now that Kibana is open, we can see there are around 73,000 hits. These are nothing but 73,000 analyzed packets which are inside. Now, what we will look at in this video is built-in visualization as well as dashboards and understand what they convey. So we are in the Discover tab, and after that, below it, you have Visualize. So let's click on that. Now, Visualize is basically containing by default the list of visualizations we have pre-created for you. Now, you can even go create your own visualization using basic charts, data tables, and a bunch of other things. And as I mentioned previously, if you spend a little bit of time learning a bit more about Elasticsearch and Kibana, then you can really do custom tasks using the WiMonitor Enterprise framework. And we would highly recommend to go along those lines. Okay, coming back. So the way visualization works is we create individual charts, data tables, tag clouds, metrics, etc. And then we select a group of them and we put them inside dashboards. So as an example, if I click on the access point dashboard, this basically contains a bunch of visualizations put together. So we can see there is top 100 SSIDs. Here is how they look like. The different access point channels, the access point vendors, BSSIDs, access point security, etc. Now, in some cases, if you notice, it says the container is too small to display the entire cloud. That's fine. Typically, I like to see as much data as possible, and if you have larger screens and monitors, of course, this really expands. We can, of course, decrease the number of SSIDs and say, instead of top 100, just show top 20, and then everything fits in perfectly. Now, those customizations and how to play with visualizations we will do in a later video. In this video, I'm just going to run you through the important dashboards and visualizations. So let's actually go back to Visualize and look at a couple. So a very common visualization, of course, is to know the list of SSIDs. So let's go ahead and find the top 100 SSIDs visualization. So I can click on this and this opens me up to another visualization window. And this is really a simple tag cloud of the different SSIDs which are around. Now, in a later video, I'll show you how to go ahead and play with this more. But just to give you a simple example, I can go down here and change the size. And instead of wanting to look at the top 100, I can just say, just show me the top 10. And now we can only see the top 10. Now, the top 10 is actually based on the number of access points or BSSIDs serving that SSID. So let me actually make this top 100 again. Go back to Visualize. Now, similar to this, one of the other interesting things I've always wanted to look at is probed SSIDs, right? Which clients are actually probing for SSIDs. So we can click on that. And we can see these are all the probed SSIDs in the vicinity. Of course, I've kept the size to be 100. Depending on how large you want, you can have more. Now, one of the other important things is not just is the visualization showing you this in the form of a tag cloud. You can click on this bottom arrow over here and even look at this as a data table. And you can download that data table. So here is an example. I'm going to download the raw data table. And this would be a CSV which you can then import into other applications. Click on the down arrow again and this disappears. There you go. So it is extremely simple to look at a visualization and even export it in the form of a CSV file so that you can use it for other analysis. Now, instead of going through each visualization, let me actually go to the dashboard where I've grouped these visualizations and put them inside to show you what they actually are. So I'm going to click on dashboard and let's explore the access point dashboard first. Now, on the very top, we have top 100 SSIDs, and what you would notice is these SSIDs have been displayed here. The larger the font of an SSID, the more number of access points serving that SSID. Now, if we go down, we have the access point channels. These are channels on which these access points are currently existing. Now, this specific trace which we are going ahead and analyzing has both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz packet collected at the same time. And hence you can see both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz channels, right? Then you have the access point vendors. So based on the MAC address, if we can detect the vendor prefix, then we go ahead and put these in here. Then you have the actual access point BSSIDs or the MAC address of the AP. And then you have access point security, which is this WPA, WPA2 personal, web, no encryption. And this chart actually shows you that. If you hover over it, you will notice we have hash BSSIDs, so which actually shows there are 99 access points which currently have WPA2 personal enabled. And if you go on this slightly darker green one, you'll see WPA, WPA2 personal are enabled on 96. Now, the key difference, of course, is some APs can support dual mode, which is both WPA and WPA2 at the same time. So we have differentiated both those access points in this chart. Now, after that, you have the cipher suite, the security key management, and then the number of access points we've detected with WPS enabled. Fantastic. Now, for each of this data, of course, you can go ahead maximize just this chart by clicking on the top right, and this just maximizes just that chart. You can go back again to the original dashboard by clicking the top right. So as an example, we can click on the access points, and this should give us all of these in an extremely beautiful way. Now, at any given point, if we go back here, we can even click on the bottom arrow for each of these graphs and actually see the raw data. So on channel 6, we see there are 55 BSSIDs. Now, if you wanted to sort by the most number of BSSIDs, we see it's channel 6 followed by 11 followed by 1. As far as 5 gigahertz is concerned, channel 157 has the most number of APs on it, 21. Great. Now, at this point, what you're probably kind of like thinking is what are the other activities we can do with this? Now, herein comes the drill down part of the dashboard. So let me give you a very simple example and you'll see how powerful this dashboard actually is. So let's say we were interested in looking at Xfinity Wi-Fi and we want to just look at access points serving that SSID. How would we do that? It's as simple as just clicking on it. The moment you click on Xfinity Wi-Fi, it automatically creates a filter here on the top which says access point SSID Xfinity Wi-Fi. And now it immediately shows us the channels on which Xfinity Wi-Fi APs are. The vendors looks like Pegatron and Ericsson. These are the only two vendors. Again, quite expected, right? Because, Xfinity Wi-Fi is probably, deployed by the same company, which means there's probably going to be just a few vendors. Now, over here, you can immediately see the list of BSSIDs as well. And of course, all of this can be viewed in a data table format, which you can then download and analyze. Now, if you notice, there is no encryption for all of these APs as expected. It is a hotspot access point for people familiar with Xfinity Wi-Fi, who are based in the US. Now, here comes the even more interesting part. You can combine multiple charts and continue to drill down. So I could actually go down here and say, well, I'm interested in looking at all the Xfinity Wi-Fi access points which are actually there on channel 153. Though I go ahead, click on this, and now if you notice on the top we have two filters, access point SSID Xfinity Wi-Fi and the WLAN management DS current channel, which is really the access points channel 153. And there you go. These are the three BSSIDs serving Xfinity Wi-Fi on channel 153, right? Isn't this amazing? Once you're done with this kind of drill down, you can just go back here. You'll actually see the trash sign on the filter. You can go ahead, delete that filter, and the moment you do that, you'll see the graphs and charts automatically reorganize themselves. Now, almost all of these charts allow you to go ahead and do interesting drill downs. So if you were interested in seeing which ones are using WPA2 Enterprise, you can go ahead, select that, and immediately go up and basically see Xfinity, which all uppercase is actually using WPA2 Enterprise, where we collected data. Bunch of access points doing that. So you can pretty much go on and on and on, right? There is really no real limit here. So we notice an HP Print A6 Office Jet. Looks like this is a printer with Wi-Fi enabled. We can click on it and we can clearly see this is on channel 5. And as expected, Hewlett Packard is the access point vendor. This basically is using WPA2 Personal. Fantastic. I probably wasn't expecting that. I was hoping to show you an no encryption printer so that anybody could just connect to it. But hey, I mean, sometimes you do get surprised. Maybe people are securing their Wi-Fi better than we know. Okay, so this is the access point dashboard. Now let's go back. Now, we've looked at the dashboard, but we can also have detailed data tables, right? Some of us love data tables. I mean, me personally, I love to be able to look at all that data in a tabular format, kind of sort with it, do interesting things. So this is really where we've created a couple of data tables. And again, in a later video, we will show you how you can create your own data tables. The whole idea, as you're seeing, is to give you the framework, is to give you the power, rather than having a monolithic product where everything is firmly kind of like baked and all you can do is what you have. We've tried our best to make this platform as flexible for analysis as possible. Personally, I call this Wireshark on steroids, because we are using the power of Wireshark, taking that engine, abstracting the data out, and then going ahead and pushing it all into Kibana, which just makes it so simple for analysis. Personally, this is something I've started using literally for every pen test and every audit which I'm doing right now. Okay, Enough shameless self-promotion. Let's get back. So we have the SSID BSSID table. So this shows us the list of SSIDs, the number of BSSIDs serving that SSID, and the beacon frame count, basically the number of beacon packets we've captured. Now, this is the actual BSSIDs here, and there is another little table which is the top 10 transmitters data table. Now, this could be clients, this could be access points, this could have been anything. Now, again, we can very easily select Xfinity Wi-Fi. Do you notice the plus sign here? Filter just for that value, hit plus. And we see 38 BSSIDs, right? And here they are, all 38 BSSIDs serving Xfinity Wi-Fi. And at this point, you can clearly see that you can do the same thing even using data tables if you're not a very chart person, but more of a table person. Great. Let's go back to the dashboard. Now, one of the other dashboard which we've given is monitoring statistics. Again, the order in which you would traverse these basic dashboards which work out of the box is just up to you. So, the number of packets analyzed is 72,858. Here is a breakup of the different frames that we've captured. Of course, beacon frames is going to be the highest, probe responses, data, probe request, and a couple of DAuths as well. Below that, we have the list of unique transmitters. So, unique transmitters is basically any Wi-Fi device which has sent out a packet, right? So, this allows you to go ahead and see how many unique transmitters exist. We have 875 unique BSSIDs. This is really the total number of access points in the vicinity. Then there is a breakup of the data packets, which is packets sent from the distribution system, which typically would mean from AP to clients, and packets to the distribution system, which is typically from the client to the AP. We also have data rates. If you notice, there are a couple of packets we've captured at extremely high data rates like 866 megabit, which is the highest this hardware can capture. So, if we kind of go ahead and look at this, we've captured 99 data packets in the short run, which were transmitted at 866 megabits per second, right? Really fast 11AC traffic. And total number of channels where we've detected packets. Now, what this means is, when we are sniffing and we are hopping through every channel, how many channels have we at least picked up a packet on? Now, keep in mind, especially in 2.4 gigahertz, you may pick packets from adjoining channels as well because there is energy seepage happening, right? So, this is a very interesting dashboard to give you a snapshot of what you've actually captured, or if you're monitoring this live, what you're capturing. Now, then we have the ProbeLink clients dashboard. So, if you click on that, this is only focused towards clients, right? What are clients sending out? Now, as expected, clients send out a lot of null probe requests, and this is what it is. And around this is basically what clients are probing for. So, interestingly, a client even probed for an access point called secret closet, right? Unless someone is actually playing a joke, I'm guessing it isn't much of a secret anymore. So, just like in the other dashboards, we can click on secret closet. The filter gets applied, and if we scroll down, we see there are two clients probing for this access point, and here are the client's MAC addresses. So, immediately we get to see what basically is happening. Now, if you wanted to look at all the packets, specifically the whole packet, you can go ahead and pin this filter. So, if you notice the little pin here, pin the filter, and then go back to discover. And if you notice, we found 10 packets. All of them seem to be probe requests. and these packets can be further analyzed depending on what you want out of it. So looks like this was from an Apple device using a single spatial stream. Now keep in mind, once you pin a filter, this actually ends up applying across all dashboards, all charts, everywhere. So remember to delete and remove pinned filters, or else you might not end up seeing a lot of traffic, right? A very common mistake when people use Kibana. So I'm going to go back to dashboards again, and I'm going to touch upon the last dashboard, which is top 10 transmitters. Now again, these are important dashboards which we've provided out of the box, but as you will see in later videos, you can create your own, right? Depending on what data is important, what kind of drill down you want to do, you can create your own graphs, charts, metrics, and dashboards. This is really what we would like to encourage. Feel free to use the existing ones, but also create new ones, and you will really experience the power of WiMonitor Enterprise. Okay, so another common question which we've seen a lot of customers ask us is if we could find the top 10 transmitters in the air, right? Sometimes you may find that maybe some clients or some devices are hogging up all the bandwidth. This is an example. Now, in this case, what we've done is we've broken up the transmitters by the frame they are sending. So beacon frame, probe response, data, probe request, and deauth. And for each of these frames, we've shown you the top 10 transmitters. So if you notice, this would mean for beacon frames, it's going to be one or more APs. In the case of data, it can be an AP, it can be a client. And if you notice, if I hover over data here in the largest chunk, this shows me the number of packets is 700. The transmitter MAC address is 48 D6 D5 6117 D8, and the frame type is data. So I could, of course, basically go ahead and click on this. The moment I click, filters get added. I can hit and apply now. Now we only see the data frame. We can go down here. Nothing much to actually see, but again, you can apply filters and you can pin them and then see the actual frame. So we could actually pin both of these, go back to discover, and if you notice, now we can see those 700 frames. So these are the actual data frames. Looks like multicast traffic was being sent. And again, you can do further analysis based on many of these fields, which we've talked about previously. But you can now see how much power you have, right? When you can directly go from top 10 transmitters to the top transmitter of data packets, and then an actual metadata view of what those data packets contained. And this is really the whole point of trying to do this kind of drill down analysis. Now, if you are interested in a specific MAC address, you could click on it, or you could even apply a filter for that MAC address. So as an example, let's say I'm interested in this MAC, I can click on this, and then I can immediately see that it's an access point. It's sent out over 1569 beacons, 364 probe responses, and 77 data packets. Interesting, right? So this kind of analysis can happen. And interestingly, if we pin this and we go back to dashboards, we go back to access point dashboard, what we find is that that access point was actually prune guest, which is on channel 6, looks like an ASUS make AP, uses WPA2 personal, doesn't seem to use WPS, right? So you are seeing how powerful filters can be, where you are in some other chart, view, dashboard, and then you apply that filter, and then you can go back and look at other charts and dashboards and see what kind of information you can mine. So this kind of filtering forward and filtering backward and filtering laterally is the real power of this framework. So let's go back here, top 10 transmitters. So the top chart, as I mentioned, is top 10 transmitters by frame. Then of course, you basically have the actual MAC addresses. Now this is top 10 transmitters, all packets, which means across all packets who are the top 10 transmitters. This is only for data packets. This is for deauth packets. So now you know that this MAC address has sent the most amount of deauths, right? Now you could further analyze this to see if this is a permissible number, or is this MAC address sending too many deauths, which might even mean this is an attack tool. Then you have top 10 transmitters by beacon packets. Fantastic. So this is basically what I wanted to touch upon in this video. The whole idea is you have base visualizations, and you can take these base visualizations and group them together in dashboards. And then when you're in a dashboard view, you can look at the global data, the kind of whole 360-degree view, if you may. And from there, start drilling down into whatever information is important and relevant, and then go across charts and dashboards to understand more about that data, that device, and what it is doing. Fantastic. So this is all I had in mind for this video. Thank you.